I'm about to say something controversial. Something that no one has ever had the courage to say. But nonetheless, it needs to be said. Sonic has had a rough transition from 2D to 3D. How's it going, guys? Terminal Pixel here. You know, I've always really enjoyed Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't know, something about the series is just so charming to me. I mean, what's not to love about this colorful cast of characters? Ow, what the fuck? Okay, yeah, no, I guess that one wasn't that good, but I mean, come on, there were other games that were- Whoops! Ow! Shut it, stop! No. Listen, if you're a Sonic fan as well, you know how painful being a fan of this goofy blue rat can be. For me in particular, Sonic is a lot like having a toxic ex you keep coming back to, even though you probably know you shouldn't be. Like, sure, he may have a lot of red flags and is really inconsistent with how good of a partner he is, but damn if he doesn't fuck good. My point is that with each new Sonic release, you never really know what you're gonna get. Such was the case all the way back in 2007. See, back then, fans were still recovering from the absolute crime against humanity that was Sonic Adventure 3, Sonic 06. There was really no worse time to call yourself a Sonic fan, and things were looking pretty bleak for the future of the franchise. But then all of a sudden, a new game was announced. A game that would change the course of the Sonic franchise forever. A game called Sonic and the Secret Rings. Wait, that can't be right. Sonic Unleashed. This was an absolute game changer for Sonic. Amazing looking graphics, a new super fast looking gameplay style, all running on a brand new engine called the Hedgehog engine. I mean, what more could you want from a Sonic game? This was shaping up to be a triumphant return for the Blue Hedgehog that no one was expecting. Sonic was back. Well, kinda. Okay guys, we really need a hit idea to bring Sonic back into the spotlight. What you got for me? Well, I've been actually working on this new style of gameplay that is both fun and faster than any game before it. That's great! If we just expand on that concept and flesh it out, we could have a real lifesaver.
We should make it God of War.
What?
You know, make him fight and stuff, like God of War. People like God of War.
But Sonic doesn't fight, he runs fast. That wouldn't make any sense.
Make him a werewolf.
Make him a what?
Make him like a cool werewolf with stretchy arms.
Now I'll be honest, I have no idea what they were thinking turning Sonic into Furry Squared, but I can't sit here and pretend I didn't think this was the coolest shit ever when I was a kid. But not everyone saw it that way. Since its release, Sonic Unleashed has become one of the most divisive games within the fandom, with some crowning it as their favorite 3D Sonic game of all time, while others hated it for reasons we'll get to later. But if you were to ask me, my personal favorite review of the game definitely is this one.
It's great. However, I recommend it for teens and up because the game has sex references. i.e., the thing Eggman uses to make Sonic the Werehog or something. A dong.
Oh, I almost forgot. I'm actually not alone today for this video. Today, I'll be joined by Noah from the Simpleton Demon Productions. God damn it, fucking waste of confetti. Noah, get your bitch ass in my video. We have Noah with us today. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi, I'm Noah from the Simpleton Demon. Big Sonic guy. You see, Sonic is he's fast, and he's blue sometimes. Sometimes he's yellow, but fast all times. And he's
That's great, Noah. Before we get into the game, I should mention that the bulk of this video will be talking about specifically the Xbox version of the game, because neither of us have a PS2 or PS3, and I'm pretty sure forcing someone to play the Wii version is considered a war crime.
What about the mobile version?
The mobile version?
Yeah, don't you think we should just, like, even briefly touch on that?
Yeah, no, I think I'm good. This is Sonic Unleashed.
Okay, before we begin, I want to preface that this is my favorite Sonic game, so I'm not going to be subtle with my praise at all. Okay? We're all on the same page, good to know? Let's begin. So, we open with a beautiful opening cutscene of Sonic in space. Why? Because he fucking can. As per usual, Sonic blasts through some egg ponds before being caught by the evil Humpty Dumpty. But all is not lost, for Sonic drinks some lean before exiting the stratosphere, and he needs to take a mean piss. Now, fully drenched in urine, he chases Humpty back to the Tower of Dong, where he is soon captured and dried. The Chaos Emeralds soak up the piss. He turns into a werewolf hog thing. I don't know. He's then shot back down onto the earth with the sad, empty shells of the Chaos Emeralds. That is not before Humpty awakens the devil from the Bible. Sonic crash lands in Greece, or whatever, with a new, highly marketable sidekick, weird bird dog thing. After wandering around Greece or whatever, they come across Morshu, who has taken on hard times, I guess, and is now selling ice cream. This is where we see the wacky character trait of Bird Dog, in which he hungry all time. Yum yum yum. Now Bird Dog has a name and it's Chip, so they have to embark on an epic journey to restore the Earth, joined by Tails and Professor Pickles, and Amy is also there.
It's definitely a simpler story than the one they tried to tell in 06, but honestly, that's all you really need for a Sonic game. Plus, Sonic 06 story had Sonic die and then get bestiality back to life, so I don't really mind going back to basics. Another notable thing to mention about the story is what it provides for the environments. Since this is a story about restoring the Earth, the game spans the entire world. This makes for some really interesting and fun level themes. You got stages based off Greece, Africa, China, and America! Honestly, it's pretty cool to see some of these parts of the worlds that you don't really see represented much in video games. My personal favorite has to be Adabat, which is based on Southeast Asia.
See, me personally, I'm a big fan of the Spagonia stages, given that they are all heavily inspired by Western Europe. Western Europe, of course, being countries such as Italy, Spain, there, and England.
And it helps that the game is just beautiful to look at. The art direction here is great, and the entire game is just pure eye candy. And to help traverse locations, Sonic's got a fancy new gameplay style. Due to Sonic having two separate forms now, the gameplay has also been split up into two parts, the day and the night levels, both having wildly different gameplay loops from each other. First, we're going to talk about the day stages.
We are given a short tutorial level introducing a brand new mechanic to the Sonic franchise, the ever-illustrious boost-to-win gameplay form. That's right, Sonic Unleashed was the first game to ever introduce this type of gameplay.
Well, technically it was first introduced in Sonic Rush.
Shut the fuck up. This format was so popular that it continued on from Unleashed into Colors and Generations. They took a little bit of a hiatus to ruin the franchise again, and then they tried to make it good again, but forgot how. Unlike the gameplay of previous entries, such as the adventure titles, Heroes, 06, and whatever the hell Secret Rings was trying to do, the Boost to Win relies more on a reaction time and precise movements rather than building up momentum and maintaining speed. Long story short, you go zoom.
Together we can show the world what we can do.
You know, I'm not really one to brag or anything, but I gotta say, I fucking suck at these boost sections, man. Like, I am genuinely so fucking bad at this game, because 1 second Sonic's just standing there like,
Feeling good!
and then the next, holy fuck! Like, I know there's a debate about which is faster, Unleashed or Generations, and trust me, I'll sit here all day being a Generations apologist, but at least to me, it's not even close. Unleashed is the fastest I've ever felt playing a Sonic game. However, despite my love for this boost to win gameplay, I do understand why some people might not like it. Since you're going at such breakneck speeds, it can be hard to react properly to obstacles your first time around, meaning that you're pretty likely to screw up during your first attempt of a stage. What I'm trying to say is it's not very beginner friendly, but that's honestly one of my favorite parts about it. Going back and trying stages again and again until you're able to blaze through them with ease is so rewarding to me.
And best of all, they have pelicans!
Why?
Why not? You got a problem with pelicans?
Well, no, I just don't understand why.
I will not hear this slander any longer. Pelicans! Attack!
Wait, no, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. This is the third time this week.
What do we say we talk about the night stages now, Once the sun sets, Sonic turns back into the Werehog. This is followed up by Tails being captured by the nighttime enemies. They're known and called nightmares, but I prefer the term Woogly Mooglies. Here's where the gimmick of the whole game comes in. The game that's meant to be a super fast, high speed, high octane game becomes a slow, methodical, beat-em-up dungeon sim. This is where most of the complaints with Sonic Unleashed come from, and I can understand why. It doesn't really fit with the rest of the franchise very well, but honestly, I kinda like them. Yes, they're boring, but the slower speed gives you more time to appreciate the intricate landscapes. Plus, as you upgrade your stats, you can blow through these areas at faster paces because you're going to be replaying these stages a lot for reasons we'll talk about later. All in all, the 9 stages, while boring and very challenging in some areas, are a nice, welcome change of pace.
Oh, Jesus. Hey, I'm back. What'd I miss?
I've just been going over my points for the night sections. Any thoughts?
I'd like to go back to the Pelicans now.
Dude, I was just talking about how there's sometimes a refreshing change of pace from the main game.
Well, yeah, I guess so, but they're such a fucking drag. First of all, I understand that a lot of people don't like the Werehog purely because it just doesn't feel like Sonic. But that's never really been something that's bothered me. And I agree that changing up the gameplay can often be really refreshing. And I mean, on a surface level, it's fine. It's your standard combat system, you press the buttons and the enemies die. You can even put skill points into upgrading the Werehog, not only letting you become stronger, but also letting you unlock new moves for the Werehog. But my problem with this is that there's not really any reason to use the new moves that you unlock. All the enemies can be taken down in pretty much the same way, meaning that while yes, you can have a variety of moves, you have no reason to use them other than for the spectacle of it. So it leaves the combat feeling kinda shallow as a result, or at least that's how it felt to me. That's not even mentioning the janky ass controls, the puzzles that feel like they're just there to waste your time, and the levels that get boring really fast. Especially when most of them go on for upwards of 20 fucking minutes. Listen, I completely understand why people like the Werehog stage. I really do. They're just not for me. And actually, while we're on the topic of combat and mechanics, there's something else I want to bring up really quick. While it's not really a major point, another problem I have with this game is the fact that there's so many goddamn QuickTime events. Sonic Unleashed, in my opinion, is way too overly reliant on QTEs. Like, I get it, QTEs can be a fun little spectacle sometimes, but they are used way too much here.
You know what? This once, I'll back you. Yes, the QTEs are obnoxious and weirdly complicated. In most games it'll be, press X, B, A, but don't worry, you'll have 5 minutes. Take your time, sweetie. In Unleashed, you need to press X, then A, then Y 69 times, then run down to your local Walmart, rob the place, use the stolen money to buy Undertale, beat the genocide route, proceed to subscribe to the Voices in Your Head podcast, link in the description, before hitting the grading and pressing B. Get all that? Good. You have 5 seconds. All that being said, the QTEs feel super nice to pull off. It feels like the damage being done is deserved, even if it is not that much.
I'll admit, sometimes I was able to pull them off pretty easily, but other times it felt way too fast. But admittedly, that could just be the result of my shit reaction time.
No, don't pull. No. Ah!
Remember when I said you'd be backtracking through those Werehog stages? Yeah, here's why. Sun and Moon medals are these little doodads you find hidden about in every stage and hub world in order to unlock new stages in the game.
See, Sun and Moon medals are one of those collectibles that aren't exactly optional. Unless you're going out of your way from the beginning to collect them, you will have to backtrack to get more if you want to progress. Now, backtracking on its own isn't inherently bad in games, but for this one, it's not so good. The Werehog stages were already tedious enough on a first playthrough, so going back to them is just a chore. And with the daytime stages, you would think it would be better because they encourage repeat playthroughs, but sometimes you have to actively go out of your way or slow down to get the medals, which kind of interrupts the flow of gameplay. It's really not that bad, but I don't know, it's just something that kind of bothered me playing through it. And the weirdest part about this is that this isn't really a problem for the Wii and PS2 versions of the game. The Sun and Moon medals, instead of being physical collectibles in the levels in Hub World, are actually rewards you get for getting good scores in the stages, meaning that if you're having to backtrack, you just have to try for a better score than the last time, which I would argue is significantly more fun. So after going across the whole world, we find out that Chip was actually important to the plot the whole time. So now aware of his purpose, Sonic and Chip do a really shitty tail section and make it to the final stage, Eggman Land. Who turned off the lights?
Sonic Unleashed is my favorite Sonic game. Until you get to Eggman Land.
From From the moment you touch down in this place, you can tell it's going to be shit. The ultimate sin of this level is that it has so many branching pathways that it takes little to no effort to get lost. But hey, you'll have plenty of time to find the right track because this level is at least 40 minutes long. This level on my very first go-around took me over an hour to complete. The game knows this, because you'll still get an A rank for it, so it's meant to be this long. Now why is it so long, you may be asking? That's because you switch from Sonic to the Werehog frequently. It completely ruins the gameplay flow, and screws up any momentum that the previous arena has set up. Oh, there's also next to no checkpoints, so you can be set back 10 minutes worth of progress because your finger slipped. Then there's the actual boss of Eggman Land, the friggin' like Egg Megazord or whatever he is. If you die at all during the Dark Gaia fight, Lord help that you don't, because you'll have to fight Eggman all over again. To summarize, fuck Eggman.
Are you okay?
Eggman!
Okay. Just sit down and calm down for a little bit. I'll wrap up the ending. There's two different sections to the actual Dark Gaia boss fight. First, Chip makes a whole ass mech out of the Gaia temples, which is admittedly a very cool visual, and uses it to get Sonic close to Dark Gaia. Once you actually get close to him, you switch to a Sonic section where you have to run up the mech to get Dark Gaia's weak points. And you know, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I totally did this on the first try. Ignore that. Then Dark Gaia has this really cool transformation scene where he reveals his true form, biblically accurate Dark Gaia. Sonic goes super, flies around a dome for a little bit, he hits Dark Gaia, and if the QTEs weren't bad enough, you have to press X fucking 60 times, and then boom, Dark Gaia is dead, Chip leaves, Sonic gets thrown out of hell, and finally we end Sonic Unleashed.
Despite all of its flaws, Sonic Unleashed still holds up today as one of the most influential games of the modern Sonic era. Again, the game is not without its flaws, and it definitely has more than a few, but they don't outweigh the positives in the slightest. Sonic Unleashed is and will continue to be my favorite Sonic game of all time.
As for how I feel, Sonic Unleashed sure is a Sonic game. Sometimes. Listen, I don't hate it by any means, and I'm not calling it a bad game at all. It's just that for me personally, I can't really look past the flaws enough for me to want to go back and play this game. If anyone out there can enjoy this game, then that's great. It really has some good merits to it. It's just personally not my speed. You see what I did there?
Yeah. Well, that seems to be that. Can I go home now?
Yeah, of course you can. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode, though.
Not like I had much of a choice. Alright, see you in hell.